Good morning, Bedrock kids. Hold on. That didn't have enough energy. Let me retry it. Good morning. So, what's up? It's another week of me in my pajama bottoms because you don't know what I'm wearing, so I could be wearing anything. Just kidding, I'm wearing shorts. But last week we began our new theme of creativity. And I hope that you guys were able to think of an answer to the question that I had for you guys last week. If you missed it, go ahead and go catch last week's. But I think for me, God made me most creative when I'm working with kids that are your guys' age. One of my favorite things is to come up with activities that we do when we're back in like a normal kind of church setting where we're playing games and doing crafts. And I love talking to you guys about the love of God and showing you guys some of the stories from the Bible that reflect different themes such as creativity or love for other people, stuff like that. In case when you guys took a one-way flight to Cabo and stayed at a 5-star resort and missed last week, creativity is imagining what you could do because you're made in God's image. And our creativity is what we call indescribable, which is our second word of the month. And it means that we can't begin to describe our creativity because it has no limits. We're going to go ahead and hop into the story for today. But first, you know what we got to do. Roll the intro! So today we're talking about a lady named Esther. And Esther was a queen of a place called Persia.
Wait, what? Queen?
Esther didn't become a queen in a normal way like we're kind of used to. You see, her father wasn't the king, and none of her family was royal.
It's just me and cousin Mordecai.
In fact, Esther was Jewish, and many of God's people were captured and brought to Babylon when their home Judah was conquered. Then Babylon was taken over by Persia, so Esther grew up in a land that wasn't her own. When Esther's parents died, her cousin Mordecai raised her as his own daughter.
Always remember what our scriptures say. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love him with all your strength.
One day, a new king named Xerxes came to power in Persia. He was what we call impulsive, and if you don't know what the word impulsive means, it means that he kind of made decisions without thinking about them. So there was this party, and his queen didn't want to go to the crazy party. It was really wild. And since she didn't want to go, he just fired her from being the queen.
She will never see me again.
When he calmed down, he realized that he had no queen. He had fired her on the spot just like that.
I have no queen.
And since he had no queen, he'd have to find a new one.
I must find a new one.
He decided that to find a new queen, he was going to hold a contest. He gathered up all the officials and told them to go to town and find the prettiest ladies that they could find. After this, he put them through a year of beauty treatments, and Esther was one of those girls that was chosen to be part of this.
Cousin Mordecai, what do I do?
Don't tell anyone you're from a Jewish family.
I have chosen my new queen. Drum roll. My new queen is Esther.
Me?
Assume the queenly royal crown. I might have to resize it.
So about 30 seconds ago, we talked about the king being impulsive and not really thinking before he made decisions. Like he quickly switched queens, he also promoted somebody named Haman to a higher position. He was a royal officer, and then he promoted him higher than any other noble in the land. Haman was delighted when the officials outside the castle bowed before him.
Bow to me, you fools!
When he discovered that Mordecai, who was Esther's cousin, who raised her like a daughter, so technically her father, when he realized that Mordecai wasn't bowing, he was enraged.
You have to bow! Somebody make him bow!
Haman was so angry that he wanted to destroy not just Mordecai, but all the Jews in the land. He laid out his gross and evil plan for the king.
Your Majesty, these Jews live differently than everyone else. They don't obey your laws.
Fiddlesticks. That's just wrong.
Precisely. Give the order to destroy them.
Consider it done.
Okay, first off, who uses the word fiddlesticks? I've never heard anybody use the word fiddlesticks. But never mind about that. The king chose to go with this horrible plan. Messengers took letters all over the kingdom.
Hear ye, hear ye. On the 13th day of the 12th month, all Jews are to be killed. Hear ye, hear ye.
When Mordecai and the rest of the Jews heard this awful news, they dressed up in rough clothes and began to cry. Mordecai sent a message to Esther in the palace and told her what Haman was doing.
You must ask the king to save our people.
Esther was absolutely devastated, and she sent a response back to her cousin.
No one can come before the king unless he sends for them. If I do it, I'll die. Unless he reaches out his gold scepter to me.
Mordecai sent a letter right back.
You may not escape, even though you're queen. Who knows? It's possible that you became queen for just a time like this.
He's right. Here, tell this to Mordecai. Gather all the Jews. Don't eat anything for 3 days. I and my servants will fast too. Then I'll go to the king.
Esther faced an impossible dilemma, but she took 3 hours to ready her heart. 3 hours. Esther faced an impossible dilemma, but she took 3 days to prepare her heart and mind. And I need to pop my back.
Bring my most beautiful royal robes.
Heart was racing, forehead was sweating, armpits were sweating, hands were sweating. Esther entered the throne room, and from across the room she could see the king sitting high on his throne. She stood there, felt like she was breathless, and waited for the king to see her.
Please, please, please.
The king looked up, and his dark eyes looked right at Esther. Then he smiled and reached out his golden scepter.
Thank God.
What is it, Queen Esther? I'll give you anything, up to half my kingdom.
Esther knew that she could make her request right away, but instead of doing so, she thought she might have a better chance if she made him a little bit curious.
King Xerxes, if it pleases you, come to a feast I've prepared today. Oh, and bring Haman.
Consider it done.
Esther created a huge feast for the king and his number 2.
Look at me, you peasants, invited to the queen's banquet.
At the feast, the king tried to ask Esther what she wanted again.
I'll give you anything, up to half my kingdom.
Esther held her ground and waited for the perfect moment.
I'd like you and Haman to come to another feast tomorrow. Then I'll answer your question.
The king agreed, and Haman went back and bragged to all of his friends.
You guys, the queen thinks I am the bomb.
So the second feast was a little bit different than the first. Esther still prepared a grand meal for the king and his number 2. A grand meal such as this one. I know, right? So delicious. Wow, what class. Man, I feel really rich when I eat these. And the king and his number 2 were really quick to dig in this time.
What do you want me to do for you? I'll give you up to half my kingdom.
Esther took a deep breath, and something had told her that this was the right moment.
Your Majesty, let me live. Please spare my people. We have been sold to be destroyed.
Haman gasped and started choking on his fillet. The king's face flushed red with anger.
Who is the man who has dared to do such a thing?
Esther looked towards the direction of Haman.
Haman is the one.
In panic, Haman threw himself at the queen.
Totally didn't mean it. Please, please, please let me live.
You dare attack the queen? Take him away.
That night, Haman was killed, and the king created a new order that saved all the Jews.
We will celebrate this day with great joy.
God had given Esther a surprising position in a foreign land, and when the time was right, she had to use all that she had to save her people. So if there's one thing that I want you to remember today, it's that God made everybody with a purpose. Each and every one of us have a purpose for being plopped down on this earth, and some of us might not know it yet. Some days even I'm unsure about what my purpose is. What is something that excites you or gives you energy? There are so many things in the world that could be our purpose. You have to pay attention to the service opportunities or the ideas that excite you, and then maybe that is part of your purpose to be here. For me, I love to teach. So I used to, before Corona, when I taught swim lessons, I used to get really excited to meet the kids that I was going to have and to watch them get better at their skills. And I loved when they asked me questions about how to swim or how to do a certain skill. And it was really rewarding to me when kids were able to put their face in, like something as little as them blowing bubbles. I would yell over the pool and excitement. And even like with church, I love teaching at church, and I love being able to talk to you guys and getting to know you over the past almost 2 years that I've been there. It would be 2 years in November, I think. But I love teaching to you guys about the story and the love of God. And I love watching you guys grow in your faith and become more confident in more areas than just church. Like, for example, Zoe at the camp out this year was way more confident in the water than she was last year. And even that was fun to watch. Addie riding my skateboard was fun. But yeah, something that excites me is at church getting to know you guys and the new kids that come as well, and getting to teach them about God each week. Plus, y'all are pretty cool, so that helps too. This month has a brand new memory verse. It's Psalms 145:3, not 441:3, like I was about to say. Psalms 145:3. And it says, Lord, you are great. You are really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are. We'll say it again for the people in the back. Lord, you are great. You are really worthy of praise. No one can completely understand how great you are. All right, that is all I have planned for you guys today. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and a rest of your week. Keep being cool. All I gotta say now is, ciao, adios, I'm done.